So let me ask, are you a buyer and you're looking for homes and you're really getting aggravated with these private listings that you're not able to see? Listen, I understand your frustration, and give me a couple of minutes and I'll explain to you what's going on here. Hey everyone, Brandon Schuppe at Skydan Real Estate Sales. Hope all's going well. So, private listings. First of all, I want you to understand, I am absolutely 100% against these private listings. Where do I start? Years ago, there used to be a thing called pocket listings, where agents would get a listing and they would not share it with the general public, because they may have had buyers themselves, or they would go to their other fellow realtors that they knew well and said, hey, I've got this listing. And it was highly frowned upon. And throughout the years, you just could not have pocket listings anymore in our industry. And then about maybe 10 years ago, there were agents that were starting to put for sale signs in the front yards of homes that said coming soon, but it wasn't in the MLS. The only reason that real estate brokers were doing that was because they were trying to attract buyers to call them on the sign so that they could sell the house themselves and they would get the entire commission. Because again, when a real estate broker lists a home, they list it for a commission, where half the commission goes to them as the listing broker, and another half or another portion of the commission goes to the broker that represents the buyer. So in a case, if you, what we in our industry call double bubble the listing, you keep the entire commission and you don't have to share it with other brokers representing the buyer. So that's why agents were putting coming soon signs in the front yards. Well, the MLS caught on to this and said it's an automatic $1,000 fine if we get caught putting a real estate sign in a front yard that's not in the MLS. So the MLS ended up coming up with these private listings. And what that allowed real estate agents to do was to put a sign in the front yard of a home. They would list the property, sign a listing agreement, but they would put it in the MLS, multiple listing services, as a private listing. With a private listing, those listings now don't transfer to Zillow or Realtor.com. The general public does not get to see advertisement on that house. Okay? And it only stays within the MLS, within the multiple listing service, so other realtors can see it. When I first saw this, I contacted the multiple listing service. I said, why are we allowing these private listings? And they said, well, it's because, like if somebody still has a bedroom to paint, or maybe they have a garage yet to clean out, it allows that realtor to put it in the MLS, but they can wait because these things have to be done. Well, years ago, if the listing was not ready to go, if they had a room to paint or they had a garage to clean out, then I would tell them, listen, as soon as that garage gets cleaned out, or as soon as you get that bedroom painted, give me a call and I'll come over and get the property listed. That's how it was years ago. And then when it was listed, it went into the MLS and it was immediately accessible to buyers. But not these private listings. The MLS is adamant about keeping these private listings in the system. And I absolutely hate it, because there's so many different things that are going into these private listings. For example, a realtor can list this property on a Thursday or a Friday, put it in the MLS as a private listing, which means it's not advertised to the general public. That realtor gets to put a sign in the front yard. They'll even sit open houses on the weekend. And if they don't sell it themselves over the weekend, then they'll put it in the MLS on Monday. It happens all the time. The other thing that the multiple listing service is allowing is for an agent to put a listing in as a private listing, and they allow it to be shared with our clients. So now if I have a buyer, and this is important, if I have a buyer who's looking at houses in this area, that private listing can be shared with my client, but guess what? I can't show it. So yes, I can share it, but I can't show it. And there are some agents out there that are keeping these listings private for up to sometimes a month. So it's aggravating, because with the new laws now, where we as real estate brokers, it's mandatory that we have to have buyer agency agreements signed with the buyers. I've got buyers that are frustrated because it's like, well, Brandon, there's a sign in the front yard. You sent me that listing through the MLS. Why can't you show me that listing? And now I have to explain all of this to the buyer. And then a few days later, another private listing comes up. And then another private listing comes up, and my client is now seeing these homes come on the market, but I can't show them. I absolutely disagree, and I've been on the phone with the multiple listing service numerous times, voicing my opinion against private listings. And even as early as today, I was on the phone and talking to someone in the rules and regulations at MRED, okay, and said, it doesn't look like private listings are going to be ending anytime soon, is what I was told. So if you're a buyer and you're getting frustrated, believe you me, you're not the only one. The only suggestion that I can make to you is that you tell your broker that you're working with to call that listing broker. Because here's another thing. Some of these listing brokers are actually allowing showings. So if you call them and say, listen, I got a buyer who really wants to see this house, there are some agents that will allow a showing on these private listings. Even though in the MLS it says, share with my client, yes. Showings, no. So even if it says showings, no, some real estate brokers are actually allowing showings. And when I asked the multiple listing service, how is that a private listing if the agent is allowing showings? I just think there's too many violations that could be given out to listing brokers because of this. So I know I went on more than a couple of minutes, but I wanted to try to be as descriptive as I could on these private listings. And again, I am absolutely against them. When I list a property, I put it on the market, okay? My job is to let everybody in the world know that your home is on the market, not a select few. If it creates a bidding war in my listing, then so be it, because that's how the market is. These private listings, no, absolutely against them. So here's the bottom line. If you're thinking of selling your home and you don't even know about these private listings, just be aware, I don't do private listings, I don't suggest them, and I hate private listings. And if you're a buyer, okay, reach out to me, because like I said, I've been in the business 34 years. I have a good relationship with a lot of real estate brokers, and I go to bat for my clients. So if there's a private listing out there, I'm going to be on the phone calling that listing broker and say, listen, what is it about this listing that's a private listing, and why can't I show it? And if there's any way that I can show this property to my client, I'm going to do everything to make that happen. So in the meantime, I appreciate you watching this. I know I kind of went on a little bit over 8.5 minutes here with this, but I wanted to be, like I said, as detailed as I can. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and make it a great day.